So Comcast just dropped billions of dollars on the NBA. But you know what? This isn't really about basketball. This is a massive, calculated move in the war for the future of your TV screen. So let's break down what's really going on here.
All right, so you've got to be asking yourself the obvious question. Why on earth would anyone spend this kind of money on a single sports league? I mean, it seems a little crazy, right?
Well, here's the thing. For Comcast, this isn't just a simple purchase. The NBA is a weapon. It's a key strategic asset they're about to deploy in a much, much bigger fight for your attention.
And this is where we get to the heart of their entire strategy. We're calling it the two-front war. See, on one hand, they have to go on offense and build up their new streaming service, Peacock. But at the exact same time, they have to play defense and protect their old, incredibly profitable kingdom of traditional TV. The NBA? Well, the NBA is their weapon to fight on both of those fronts at once.
Okay, so first up, let's get into the basic thinking behind this deal. Comcast isn't looking at this like just another TV show. For them, the NBA is a foundational pillar for their entire media business for the next decade.
You know, you should really check out this quote from Comcast's own president. It tells you everything you need to know about their mindset. They believe that locking up the biggest sports leagues for a super long time isn't a risk. It's how you create stability in a market that's just total chaos right now.
And that, right there, that's the end game. They want to build what they call a durable content advantage. It's kind of like building a giant moat around their castle. For the next 11 years, a huge piece of must-see television is now inside their walls, and their competitors are locked out.
All right, let's talk about the first front in this war, the offense. This is all about how Comcast plans to use the NBA to turn its streaming service, Peacock, into an absolute giant. So here's where Peacock stands today. 41 million subscribers. I mean, that's a solid start, for sure. But in the streaming wars, you need overwhelming firepower to win. They have to get much, much bigger to compete with the big guys. And to be fair, Peacock's got some real momentum. Its finances are getting better, they've shown they can raise prices without people leaving, but the key takeaway here is simple. More subscribers equals more money. That's the name of the game. And this is where the NBA comes in. It's not just another show to add to the library. It's the catalyst. It's the rocket fuel they're strapping on to try and blast Peacock into the big leagues and get that critical mass of subscribers they desperately need. Now, this part is absolutely key if you want to understand that massive price tag. Comcast management looks at the whole business as one P&L, one big profit and loss statement. Think of it like a single family bank account. The cost of the NBA is worth it if it helps the entire company, not just Peacock, win in the long run. Okay, so we've covered the offense. Now let's flip to the other side of the coin, the defense. Because while they're trying to build this new streaming empire, they've got to protect the old one, which is still making them a ton of money, but it's under attack. And make no mistake, the threat is very, very real. In their own financial reports, Comcast talks about accelerated net customer losses. I mean, that's just a corporate way of saying people are ditching cable faster than ever, and that's a direct hit to their bottom line. And this is where you can see the whole strategy laid out, plain and simple. This NBA deal is a brilliant 2-for-1. On offense, it pumps up Peacock, but on defense, it makes their regular TV channels absolutely essential, slowing down the cord cutting and protecting that precious cash flow. I mean, listen to this quote from their CFO. This is just a massive power move. They're saying that by adding the NBA to their collection of the NFL and the Olympics, they're basically cornering the market on can't-miss live events. They are making themselves indispensable. But of course, fighting a war on two fronts is incredibly expensive. So let's get real for a second and look at the actual financials behind this whole thing. First off, just think about the sheer scale of this. This is not a short-term fling. We're talking an 11-year commitment starting in 2025. They are locking themselves into this strategy for more than a decade. Now here's where they're being pretty clever with the money. On paper, the cost will look like a steady, predictable hit to their profits every single year. But the actual cash they're paying out will be lower at the beginning of the deal. That gives them some breathing room to let Peacock grow before the really big bills start to come due. And look, they're not hiding from the risks. These are things the company itself admits in its financial filings. Competition is driving prices through the roof, and get this, they even say there's no assurance that they'll actually make more money than they spend on this deal. This is a real gamble. But here's the thing,
It's a gamble they can actually afford to make. Their net leverage ratio, which is basically a measure of their debt versus their earnings, is a really healthy 2.3x. In simple terms, that means their finances are strong enough to handle this massive expense without going broke.
Okay, so when you put it all together, after all that, what's the big picture here? What's the final takeaway from this huge bet on the future?
It really just boils down to this simple trade-off you see right here. Comcast is knowingly, willingly giving up some short-term profits for a shot at long-term strategic power, and hopefully for them, total dominance in the media world of tomorrow. And when you strip everything else away, the success or failure of this entire multi-billion-dollar bet, it all hangs on this one thing. Can the NBA actually transform Peacock from just another streaming app into a profitable powerhouse platform that can last? Comcast has clearly decided the NBA is the ultimate weapon in this fight, which really just leaves all of us with one final big question to think about. In a war this critical for the future of television, is there any price that's too high to win?